Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. This session focuses on reduplication and sociolinguistic scene of Pakistan. I hope and expect by the end of this session, you would have an understanding of what does the term reduplication mean, and then with the help of some examples from the sociolinguistic background of Pakistan, you would be able to understand how does it operate. Well, my dear students, reduplication is quite common in Urdu and the local languages of Pakistan. Instead of defining it, I would give a few examples that would make the concept clear to you. Look at the examples, you would find them interesting. For example, if you look at the screen, Pani Shani. Now, if you look at this structure, Pani means water in Urdu. It has a particular meaning. What about this second part, Shani? This does not have any meaning as such attached to it. In the Urdu lexis, no such word exists. No meaningful word exists that has, any meaning attached to it. So, the first rule that we have learned about, the creation of reduplications is that, in the process of creation of a reduplication, a word that, rhymes with the word in terms of sound, in terms of pronunciation is used. However, this word or this part of a word that is attached to it, it does not have any meaning. In the same way, look at chai, shy. Here, shy does not have any meaning attached to it as such. This entry, this lexical entry is, meaningless. This has zero meaning attached to it. You can look at others, for example, Kam, Sham. You can look at many examples from other local languages of Pakistan as well. I would just give you a few examples from the Punjabi context. For example, Gal, Shal. Gal means bath in Punjabi. But this second part, Shal, again, has zero meaning attached to it. In the same way, Kam, Sham. This Kam is calm or work in Punjabi, but the second part is a zero meaning entry. Khayal, Shayal is another example. Alright, there are sometimes certain impacts of processes of code mixing on, the creation of these reduplications as well. This would show the complexity of the phenomenon to you, because so far the examples that I have given were very simple. Look at this example that I have taken from a Pakistani television talk show where the guest used the phrase hi-fi organization. I hope and expect you are familiar with this hi-fi. Generally, Pakistani speakers, the speakers of Urdu, when they mix English language words in their language, they use, this kind of, a mixture. And hi-fi organization, for example, wo ek hi-fi organization mein kaam karta hai. So these kind of choices are very common in Pakistan. But let us look at the structural aspects of it. The problem is whether it is hi-fi or hi-fi, this way. In fact, when I checked the word in the English dictionary, there were different meanings attached to that. This particular hi-fi in English, when I checked it in the informal, informal abbreviation of high fidelity. The term in English is high fidelity, which is abbreviated as hi-fi. Now, in Webster's dictionary, this dictionary does not contain this particular instance of hi-fi. Why? Because it does not consider as a part of formal language. So, this Webster's dictionary presents high fidelity instead of hi-fi, and presents it as a noun and as an adjective, which means minimally distorted electronic sound reproduction as on records or tape. I have quoted the reference from where I have taken this, but what is interesting is, in fact, when a Pakistani speaker on, for example, this talk show was using hi-fi organization, of course, he was not referring to this particular meaning of hi-fi. Another dictionary that was consulted was Collins Cowbell English Dictionary. Interestingly, now this dictionary had this word, hi-fi, and mentioned it as a hi-fi instead of, this. It was used like this, as a set of equipment on which you play records and tapes and which produces stereo sound of very good quality. And the word category that was given to it was of a noun in this dictionary. Now, what actually happens in terms of reduplication practices in Pakistan? People generally use this hi-fi in actually all those situations where probably they only know the word hi, the English word hi. For example, somebody's status is high. So this hi they are familiar with, and they mix this hi into the Urdu structure. For example, वो एक high organization में काम करता है. He works in a high organization, for example. However, because the process of reduplication is very common with the Urdu users, now they have reduplicated this English hi by adding fi, which does not have any meaning. And as a result of this, this hi-fi is created. So, this is how through the processes of code mixing, some very interesting but very complicated examples, also occur. Kachro, 1978, who has done a lot of work on code mixing and switching as well in the bilingual contexts in South Asia, he says it is a very common phenomenon in all the South Asian languages. And what he asserts is, in the process of code mixing, it is applied to English items to convey the semantic function of indefinitization. So, in this example, you have seen how it is applied to, for example, an English item. I'm going to share a few quick examples. Petrol, vetrol, भर लिया है. Acting, victim, मैं क्या जानू रे. These are the examples that Kachro has quoted. This, in fact, is an example from an Indian song that he has quoted. There are other examples that we find in our everyday context. For example, water shorter, girls shirls, boys shoys, work shirk, and time shine, etc. So I hope you have an understanding of the phenomenon of reduplication and how does it operate in Pakistan in the sociolinguistic context of the use of Urdu, as well as in the processes of mixing of English in Urdu language.